They always say time heals everything. But what they never tell you is that sometimes time just makes the truth clearer. My ex-wife Leah left me 2 years ago. She said she needed to find herself, which was her poetic way of saying she'd found someone else. I didn't fight it. I didn't beg. I just watched her pack her things and walk out the same door we once dreamed our future through. Back then, I was broken. There's no point pretending otherwise. The silence after she left wasn't peaceful. It was suffocating. You get so used to someone's voice filling your days that when it's gone, even your own thoughts start to sound foreign. But I rebuilt slowly, brick by brick. I fixed my house. I started running again. I learned to cook something other than takeout. And one day, I realized I'd gone an entire week without thinking about her. That's when I knew I was healing. Then, 3 weeks ago, she showed up at my door. It was late evening. I was making dinner when the doorbell rang. When I opened it, there she was. Same perfume, same soft smile, same familiar eyes, pretending not to be nervous. "Hey, Mason," she said, voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. For a moment, I just stared at her. Part of me wanted to slam the door. Another part wanted to hear what she had to say. She looked around the house like she was stepping into a memory. "You've changed things," she said, touching the edge of a new photo frame. "Yeah," I said. I had to. We sat in the living room, the same couch where she once told me she wasn't happy anymore. She started talking the way people do when they're trying to soften their own guilt. She said she'd made mistakes, that life hadn't been what she expected, that she missed the way I made her feel safe. I listened, calm, detached, almost amused, because the man she was talking to didn't exist anymore. Then she said something that almost made me laugh. I thought about us again. Maybe we could start over. Her voice cracked at the end, just enough to sound vulnerable. Before I could respond, the front door opened. I'd forgotten to lock it earlier. Leah froze when she heard footsteps, and then her best friend, Emma, walked in. The same Emma who used to warn me that Leah was selfish. The same Emma who had been there for me when everything fell apart. Emma smiled. "Hope I'm not interrupting." Leah's face went pale. Her lips parted like she was trying to speak, but no sound came out. The room grew heavy, the kind of silence that doesn't just fill the air, it presses down on you. Emma, on the other hand, looked calm, almost too calm. She placed a grocery bag on the counter like she'd done it 100 times before and turned to me with a soft grin. "Dinner smells great," she said, ignoring the storm brewing across from her. Leah's voice finally returned, sharp and trembling. What is she doing here?" I leaned back, arms folded. "You showed up uninvited, Leah." She didn't respond. Her eyes darted between us, searching for some kind of lie, some thread of hope that this wasn't what it looked like. But it was exactly what it looked like. Emma broke the silence. "I told you once, Leah. You take people for granted, and one day you'll lose the ones who actually cared." Leah's expression shifted. First confusion, then realization, then rage. "You, seriously, Emma?" She spat. "You were supposed to be my friend." "I was," Emma said steadily, "until I saw what you did to him. I could have said something, could have stepped in, but I didn't." Watching the two of them face each other felt like closing a chapter I never properly ended. Leah laughed bitterly, defensive, desperate. "So what? You two just decided to play house while I was gone?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No, Leah. You decided to leave. I just stopped waiting. That's when her facade cracked completely. She took a step closer, eyes glistening. I made a mistake, Mason. I thought I could find something better. But no one has ever made me feel like you did. For a second, I felt the echo of old emotions. The ghost of the man who would have done anything to hear those words. But ghosts don't belong in the present. I stood up. You had your chance, Leah. Twice, actually. The first time when I loved you, and the second when you walked through that door tonight. Emma stood beside me, silent but firm. Leah's gaze flickered between us again, and I could see it. That hollow mix of jealousy and regret. She turned away, muttering something under her breath as she grabbed her purse. At the door, she paused. You'll regret this, Mason. I shook my head. No, Leah, I already did. I'm just done repeating it. And then she left for good this time. The door clicked shut, and for a long moment neither Emma nor I said anything. The tension slowly dissolved, replaced by a strange calm. The kind that comes after a storm passes and you realize the house is still standing. Emma exhaled softly. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, just surprised. She smiled faintly. You handled that better than I expected. 2 years ago, I would have said you'd begged her to stay. I know, I replied. That's what makes it different now. We sat down again, the air still heavy with everything unsaid. I thought about how life had twisted. How the same person who once tore my world apart had just walked out of it for the last time, while the one who helped me rebuild it stood right next to me. I looked at Emma. She caught my gaze and didn't look away. There was a quiet understanding between us, not built on drama or desperation, but on shared truth. She'd seen my worst days. I'd seen her patience through all of it. There was no pretending left between us. She finally broke the silence. You know, she came to me a few months ago. I blinked. Leah did. Emma nodded. She wanted advice. Said she missed the stability you gave her. I frowned. I told her she didn't miss you, Emma continued. She missed the comfort she thought she could walk back into any time. That stung a little, mostly because it was true. Leah hadn't come back out of love. She came back because the world outside didn't love her the same way. Emma stood and started unpacking the groceries she brought. You still hungry? She asked. I smiled. Yeah, starving actually. As she moved around the kitchen, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not excitement, not obsession, just peace. And that's when I realized how rare that feeling was. Later that night, after dinner, we sat on the porch. The air was cool, the crickets loud, the sky dark and endless. Emma leaned her head against my shoulder. You think she'll come back again? She asked quietly. Probably, I said. But this time, there's nothing left for her to find. She nodded, then smiled softly. Good, because she already lost the best thing she ever had. I glanced at her, a small laugh escaping me. And what about me? What did I find? Her eyes met mine. Someone who won't leave when things get hard. The night stretched around us, calm and quiet, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel haunted by the past. I just felt home,